Welcome back here to beautiful Dubbo for the Junior State Cup Northern Conference. We now move to the 14 girls division. James Preston and Jason Stanton with you in commentary. And it is Manly with first use of the ball up against Wallsend in the predominantly blue strip. Manly immediately on the attack. They come away here through Tamale. Touched inside the 7 nice and early as the wind starts to pick up here as well at Dubbo. It wasn't much forecast, but certainly it's coming out in full effect at the moment. You can probably hear it through the mics. If you are just joining us, 25-minute matches, no halftime breaks. The sides simply change ends when a try is scored. Taudian back to the middle and out. Taudian once more, no touch called. Play on instead. Farrell. And now the changeover comes here for Wallsend. So not the most enterprising set there for Manly, but working through their set nonetheless there, Jason Stanton.
Yeah, really good start to the game, and Manly are known for probably having, like arguably the best female pathway and program in the state. So Wallsend's going to have their work cut out for them, and I think they'll be really excited at, taking on their more fancied city folk.
Absolutely, names like Dybel and Davis come to mind when we think of Manly. Some of those premier players, that's who the under-14s girls will be trying to emulate here today. And of course carve out a name for themselves as Wallsend go on the attack here. Wicker plays it. Agland back to Taylor Wicker, so the two Wicker sisters are out there at the same time. All Wicker trying to wedge herself through a very narrow gap. There's absolutely zero regard for a body there.
Yeah, that was really focused and direct. She really wanted that try, and it was an excellent dive. They've gone for it again.
Wicker has another crack. So both Wicker sisters, neither of them are brash about diving from distance. A big push there with ball in hand. I thought potentially could have gone against Manly, but play on is the call. It's hard to carry, but they've done a great job there to reel it in from Tamale. And now they work for a penalty here, Manly.
Yeah, the diving's quite an advanced skill, and it wasn't as prominent if you go back, say, 5-10 years ago in the female game. And now just from, under 12s all the way right through, they can all dive and really put really good finishes on their plays for tries. So great work.
It was a great previous play there, running at pace, but they just didn't have anyone waiting for the strike dump, so it's broken down a little here for Manly. Last play now, though. Can they work something? Unwin at pace. Oh, nearly got around them. Beautiful cover defence, though. Working hard from the middle. That's nice stuff from Wallsend.
Yeah, Wallsend are actually using, you might see some of the defenders putting their hands up, pointing, and their communications or, the comms are really strong. So that's how they're handling Manly's speed and footwork at the moment as a team. And that's a really good early sign for Wallsend.
So they'll work up towards halfway now. The pressure from Unwin was very good, though. Changeover coming now. She's been very strong so far for Manly, April Unwin. Lots of energy about her play as they work it wide now. Good speed on display too. That one is going to be a drop ball, though. Tried to play it a little bit too quickly there, Manly.
Yeah, the speed of game's always something that always marvels me. I think with YouTube, social media, bar TV, a lot of the players get to watch some of the older or, like their heroes play, and then they come out and execute the same stuff.
Well, Polsford certainly did. There was a great strike dump from the 23. Here she is again now with it. Short pass provided to her link position. Polsford slows it down, dumps it, and now back towards the middle they come with Fuller. Now they look to launch a raid. They've got them backpedaling. All good pressure, though, stepping up from Charlotte Hawkins and shut it down. So very good defensive play from both sides so far. They're reading those set plays extremely well.
Yeah, we saw that a little bit in the last game, James, where there's a fair bit of anticipation now in the modern game, where the defence almost guesses or reads what's coming and then makes an early adjustment. And so I think throughout this weekend, the teams that are able to run second phase type plays against the grain or against the flow, trick plays, they're going to be the ones that I think rise to the top.
I'll tell you what, they might have also picked up a few cues from you, watching you on the live stream over the last couple of years, because that was a rather cynical play thrown directly into the opposition. Trying to get the extra set was never going to happen for them.
Any of these kids that watch me will have to slow down because they're about 4 times as fast as me and 4 times as skillful. So
Mate, it's about how quick you are between the ears, though. That's what they say when you get to, I'm not going to say that age, but when you have a bit more experience, such as the great Jason Stanton. Last play here now for Wallsend. Wicker dumbing back to the open side. Wicker receives it once more. Has the opportunity to link up with her sister. She does so. Now, they were trying to suggest they didn't step up to that 7-metre mark there, Manly, but referees were happy with the defensive efforts. The changeover comes, and we're about 5.5 minutes into this one. No score yet between Manly and Wallsend in the 14 girls division of the Junior State Cup Northern Conference.
Yeah,
they charge.
Yeah, sorry, James. Yeah, a little bit of a tip for you know, when the defence is not coming up like that, you need to sort of get the comms or be audible to the referee a bit earlier in the set. When it gets to 4th, 5th or last touch, it's a little bit hard to say, oh, by the way, they didn't come forward for the whole set. So a bit of a tip, if the defence is not moving forward, try and get your comms up early in the set and say, referee, they've got to come forward, you know. That's sort of what happened there. They sort of communicated, but it was a little bit late in the set, so they didn't get any advantage.
Sanderson plays it. And now they head back towards the middle once again. Nice little run there from Grace Smith. Wicker pops it back to the middle. More than happy to slow things down here. Good patience about the play. Wicker to Wicker. Once more they go for the dive. No touch this time, is there? No, they've said she's dropped it in the play the ball, I believe. Or should I say in the process of scoring the try. So Manly hang on as Unwin play it. And up they come now. Aglin makes the touch. Good speed about this particular play from Manly, and they're able to work the roll on here. Good start to the set. Oh, big contact. Thought that could have potentially gone against Manly. Certainly a raised arm there from Tonga. Play on is the call, though. Up towards the 7-metre mark. Last play now. They've tried to operate down the short side, but Wallsend were ready for it. And Stanton, you talk about some of the reads in defence that we've seen already in the opening couple of fixtures. Well, that's a great example there because they stacked the short side, but so too did Wallsend.
Yeah, well, it's almost like Wallsend were there before the attack, which is, anticipation's a really good skill to have for all our kids coming through the programs. And if you can get a bit of a read of where things come, sometimes that can help.
Miscommunication there from Wallsend, though, resulting in a changeover here for Manly, and probably the best field position of the match so far to start a set. They hit it at pace. It's Williams who plays it on the 7, receives it back once more. Touch made from the middle there for Wallsend as Williams slows it down. Now they look to launch a raid. Williams still an option. Williams is there. She finds an opening. Manly lead 1-0.
Yeah, wasn't that clever from Williams the way she put it down so quick. It's quite a difficult skill in the game to catch a pass that's quite high or above the eye level and get it down so quickly. So Williams, that was super impressive, James.
Eliza Williams, as you mentioned there, Jason Stanton almost in one motion, catching and putting it to ground. As Wallsend now have a little bit of work to do here. Back on the attack though. They push it through the middle. Evading the first touch. Good meterage here. Oh, there was an opportunity out wide for Wallsend, but they turned it back towards the middle. Still live for them though, as it's worked here through Polesford. She's one to watch. Great floating pass over the top. Well read in defence. I think it just ended up between middle and, link and wing there. They weren't quite sure who should take it.
Yeah, a little bit of confusion. The Wallsend team, they have started well, but I mean, over that first 10 minutes, you almost felt that Manly try was a bit of a build. Like Wallsend turned over the ball a couple times in attack. You might not have caught it on your screen, but they actually had made an error with the subs, and they had 5 on the field for a couple of touches there, Wallsend. So it's a little bit hard to stick with Manly, over long periods, and Wallsend have been doing a good job and maybe lost a little bit of focus there, and Manly were able to get up 1-0.
So Wallsend looking to get back on level peggings, and they're not going to do it with a pass like that. Unfortunately, a little too difficult to take for the wing. It was down low and in slippery conditions. Play on though now for Whanakore. He's about 20 away from the try line. Slow approach here from Slater. Whanakore cut out. Now they go wider still. Oh, nearly opened up there for Tamale. It's been left behind though. I must say the pressure from Wallsend in defence, though, has been excellent since kick-off.
Yeah, I think their D's been good. They're definitely not overawed. I think with their attack, when they're driving here, they can probably get a little bit maybe further towards the halfway before they do their substitutions, because they're going off fraction early, and you see Manly now meeting them, and that's third or fourth in the set. So they're sort of not getting as much, I guess, value or, you know, purchase out of their driving sets, but their defence has definitely been great. And I think if a few little improvements on the drive, and I think they can really stick it, you know, like sort of stick with Manly.
Change over here for Manly. That one ruled to be a 50-50, so play on is the call. Tamale goes away now for Slatter. Whanakore, up she goes. And at pace, hitting it now is Eloise Rich. Rich is knocked onto her backside, so a forceful touch there against Wallsend. They'll get a full set to play with. Only about 10 or 12 metres away from the line. Good signs here for Manly. April Unwin. It's been really impressive so far for the Northern Beaches side. Here she comes again. Unwin diving from distance. Wicker, though, is very tall, and she got down nice and quick with those long limbs of hers.
Yeah, those dives are very skillful. Get down low very quickly and slide in. It's a really difficult skill.
So Unwin again looking to pull a few strings here. She has another crack at them. She's certainly got that skill set, the long range dive. And she thought she got there. I think they're suggesting it was an incorrect play the ball in the process, though.
You see, Unwin hasn't scored there, but if I was the on the Manly side, I think it's Coach Millie, I think, on that side, I'd be really impressed with that, because her lateral movement and that quick release was first class. So definitely I'll be looking to Unwin to be one to watch throughout the weekend, because that looked particularly sharp.
Well, in touch, we often talk about going back to the well if something is working or just about to breach a defensive line. It's worth persisting with as they get a nice little run down the sideline here. Great pace shown from Farrell. She certainly can run.
And I think that was Wicker, was it? That picked her up. Great defence too.
And the Wicker girls have had a strong start to this match in the 53 and 54 respectively. Simmons back towards the middle. So Williams is out there, the sole try scorer so far. Did a great job to handle it. Just couldn't link up with the pass though, but that was entertaining stuff nonetheless.
Yeah, and the Wallsend drive, it's almost been on cue, James, when we started talking about it. I think they've turned over the ball 2 or 3 times in their drive, but that's been followed by really good defence. And that's been a bit of the story of the game, where they're defending really well, they're resilient. Just got to get over halfway a little bit better, try and get Manly coming off their own try line to start their sets.
So just over halfway through this match with about 12 minutes remaining here. Wallsend trailing by 1, but with ball in hand. Manly, great pressure, continuing to push up and up into the faces of Wallsend. Force a turnover. Very flat pass there to restart things though. So they get up over halfway. Tonga is an option. Now she receives it. Tonga at pace. Did a good job there to draw in the winger and had to make it plated. The smart stuff though from Charlotte Carlson. I think she had to make a play there, Stanton.
Yeah, there was Manly had sort of just like grinding into it and really controlling the pace of it, and Wallsend are definitely coming up with answers. As you said, they've got to make those plays, but Wallsend's going to have to try something a little bit different, because I think Manly are really enjoying the rhythm of this game and how it's rolling out, and most of it's on the down their end of the field, or the left of your screen. So maybe this penalty here will give Wallsend an opportunity. They really got to have a good driving set.
Certainly will help. Oh, geez, a difficult pass to take, but they did a good job under the circumstances, especially with a rushing defensive line. A little mixed up in the play of the ball here. That's going to crush that momentum just a little bit, and the subset is not a good one here from Wallsend. They put themselves under oodles of pressure, but they recover quite nicely here, actually. Good right foot step up towards halfway. And now over the halfway line. Last play, still not the kind of set they would have wanted, Wallsend, but with one more decent play here, they can at least salvage something out of it. So a very disjointed set, and they've thought they've got one more play here.
Yeah, it happens. What happens sometimes, James, is when you're defending well, like Wallsend are, this is a good turnover for them. Then sometimes you sort of you puff and you want to break, and you sort of almost migrate or go to the substitution box a little bit earlier than probably what you should, because you want to get off, and that's what we've seen a little bit of from Wallsend today.
Well, they were left with just one player who had to quickly get in there at acting half. Now they'll pop it back towards the middle.
Yeah, and Wallsend haven't had many opportunities, so they really need to ask some questions on this set.
So once more the touch comes in, about 20 metres away from the try line. Big gap here between link and wing. Eventually they connect. The passage just far too wide in the end. And so with about 9.5 to go, this Manly side is proving very difficult to break down in defence.
Yeah, and they look quite fresh there too, which is a product of them controlling the ball more. It's a touch generally flows where you get even ball, but there are on the odd occasion one team will probably get the weight of possession, and that sort of means that they're a little bit fresher.
Here they go, Manly. Good touch coming in though, just at the death there from Wallsend. So back to that 7 metre mark they come now. Still a few plays in this one. Unwin slows it down. Last now for them, Williams and Unwin. Watch these two. They're both dangerous customers. Oh, Unwin with a little in and away. Nearly got around him, but a great touch in the end from Sienna Stevens.
Yeah, very good defence. Haven't we seen great scramble from Wallsend today, James, with the defence? They only down 1-0. Manly's one of the powerhouses here. They'd be expecting to win this thing, like the whole tournament, and Wallsend are just sticking with them, and it's purely from their resilience and their effort. And you know, if they can get a few improvements on their drive, that's another turnover without getting halfway. I really think Wallsend can do some damage this weekend.
You mentioned the word effort there now. Defence is all about attitude and effort. So we're certainly seeing plenty of that here from Wallsend. Just a little lacking so far in the execution of their attacking plays, though, as Unwin for Manly dives from a long distance. Jeez, it was a good touch in the end from Wicker. That's what we're talking about with that attitude in defence. I thought Unwin might have just slipped underneath it, though. But here she comes again. This time there's a much bigger gap, and Unwin, no mistake here. She gets it to ground. 2 tries to 0, and Manly are now in a really good position here.
Yeah, Unwin definitely very sharp laterally there. Going to be one to watch. And one of the things that was a little bit different on that play for Manly is that the dummy half actually got round to the side of her and gave her the ball very quickly from the ground, which actually put the defence under a lot of pressure. So, yeah, that's a bit of a tip if you're someone that runs those quick release plays. It's not just how quick you dump it and move, it's how quick you get the ball from the ground, which will result in pressure on the defence.
Now, speaking of ball to ground, that's exactly what's happened here for Wallsend. Matheson unable to reel it in. Once more, that slippery surface rearing its ugly head to start the day. Hopefully with the sunshine out as bright as it is, we'll see that clear up maybe at about 10 o'clock, I'd imagine. They come wider still though, Manly. Good metres on offer as Farrell hops into acting half. And at pace comes McPhee. Back towards the middle now. Really nice set so far from Manly. Hawkins drops it down. Farrell and now Williams, the first try scorer of the match. That was the right idea from Manly, just a little bit behind with the pass.
Yeah, I like seeing the substitutions. I know we're labouring the point a little bit, but I like seeing the substitutions for Manly coming on their side on the attacking side of the halfway, which was, in direct contrast to what probably, we've seen from some of the opposition teams.
Well, so far, a lot of that has been due to the defensive pressure from Manly. How about the pace here, though? I think the touch comes in before the ball is lost. Yes, that's called as such. But Aglin really showing a clean pair of heels. Be interesting to see if they can pop her on the outside again. Here she is now hopping in at acting half. Not too far to go here. Polsford drives forward, though. Nearly beat the initial touch there. That would have been very interesting.
Yeah, I just want a bit of a shout out to the referee, and I don't have their names with us, but this team of referees, I know they're not mic'd up, so you've probably not been able to appreciate it through the coverage, but they're actually communicating as a group or as a unit, and you can see that the two, like on the wing, like the outside referees, are actually talking to the controlling referee well before you hear the whistle. This is a really impressive group, and yeah, it's unfortunate I haven't got their names. A bit of a shout out. It's really good to see strong refereeing, James.
Of course, we do have so many referees in action across this weekend. We can't run the competitions without them, so their work is very much appreciated. Here comes Polsford, popping it back towards the middle. Touch comes in. Good defensive pressure from Manly. They'll wrap around to the open right here. Pulsford off the right foot, nearly opened them up. Last play now, though, for Wallsend. So she's the danger woman, Pulsford, but at the moment she's out of the action. They'll get her back in here, but there's nowhere to go for Wallsend.
Yeah, it's a strong D there. Hopefully the Wallsend team take a bit of encouragement out of the game, because they have played well. It's just that Manly probably just a fraction sort of stronger across the park, but Wallsend have showed some great signs, so hopefully they're not too discouraged by this first result.
Great play here from Tonga, though, the big dummy, and now setting her down the sideline. Farrell's got all the pace in the world. She keeps the sideline. In fact, no, she's been ruled back. I thought it was very close. There might have been a stray boot on there, and yes, our referees are right on the spot, but Farrell thought she was off for all money.
Yeah, you better record this because you won't hear that very often. That was great refereeing. I actually noticed the play down the sideline skimmed the line. I think the referee might have been grabbing a drink or something. I thought, oh, she's missed this, but she wasn't. What a great call. Can we get these on the men's games or what? Superb refereeing here.
Jason Stanton, can you stop crushing on our referees, please? I know they're doing a good job, and they've definitely got it right there. I must say, I was half going to pull it up, and I thought, nah, we'll stick with it, see if the referees do the job themselves. They've done exactly that as Wicket nearly splits them. And that will be a changeover, though, for Manly. So just under 4 minutes remaining. Manly still up by 2. It's not done with yet for Wallsend, certainly not with a turnover here. If they can score, we're up for a grandstand finish. Here comes Wicker again, off the left foot. Oh, Wicker goes all the way, nearly. No, they just got there in time, but they're also playing a little bit of advantage too.
Yeah, that was a good call there. I'd like to see Wallsend get one as a bit of a reward, you know, for the way they've played the game, and maybe get him back in. They just got to ask some questions. Manly's been coaxed up by the referee, so if Wallsend run plays at him, they're a good chance to get the call.
Oh, Wicker, that was the right play from her. Just the link not pushing up quickly enough there to connect with the pass. It was on for Stevens. Wicker has so much pace, it's sometimes hard to keep with them. Here they go now, speaking of pace. Whanakore down the sideline, and a beautiful play the ball too. They continue it on, just over the top. It was building nicely though.
Yeah, the number 2 there for Manly was a Whanakore. Don't underestimate how difficult that was. She was flying down the sideline and then had enough poise and composure to think, the defence is coming across, so she ducked in field and a clean dump. That's really skillful.
Great skill set on display, and what's the one thing we can't substitute at any level, Jason Stanton?
I don't know, sure. Skill.
Pace. Pace, my friend. You can't substitute for speed.
You can't go in Aldi's and buy a packet of speed. Or pace, I should say. I don't want to say speed. But I've been trying to go in shops, trying to look for skill, brains. I can't buy it anywhere, mate. I'm just stuck with what I got, James.
Well, I think you've still got enough to get through. Let's say that much. The comeback is on. It's been on for a little while now as Manly keep pushing forward. Wallsend would like to have their own little comeback here with 2 minutes to go. Set, Farrell, and now Unwin towards the sideline. Farrell in an acting half. Hawkins straightens things up. Back into the action here is Williams. First try score of the match. That might be a touch pass. Yes, changeover is called. So this is do or die now here for Wallsend, Jason Stanton. They must score off the back of this set. Otherwise, it's going to be a bridge too far. Time will beat them.
Yeah, they might run out of time, potentially. One of the things I noticed with Wallsend when they did have an opportunity there, and there may be something they can take into the next game, is when the referees calling the defence to come forward because they're not being active, that's a really good time to run at them rather than trying to run around them. Run at the offside player, more so than ever. And I think maybe that's something Wallsend will have a think about going to the next game when they do get to the line and they've got the defence in a bit of trouble, they're being called offside. That's the time to run at them, dive at their feet, not so much try and run around them. So I think that'll be a bit of a correction that the Wallsend crew will make going into the next game.
Well, much the same. It takes a bit of courage to have a scoot out of acting half when you do see that retreating defensive line, but we've seen it so often. Big risk and potentially big reward. Speaking of reward, here come Manly. Oh, beautiful draw and pass. And India Preston, we love that last name. She goes in for a try. 3-0 Manly lead with time very much running out.
Yeah, beautiful chain pass in there from the Manly team. That's the icing on the cake. And you could see a couple of players within your shot there with the arms in the air. They enjoyed that. They enjoyed that. And that's an important aspect of this game as well, enjoying the success on and off the field and really sticking together. And it was great to see the excitement around the Manly crew when that try was scored.
So 30 seconds to go here. Wallsend looking for a consolation try. And if you're wondering why I'm having so much fun calling India Preston there, that's the first time in my life I've ever been able to call a Preston scoring a try. So there is the siren in the background. Of course, the time on your screen and at the ground here is merely a guide. All the official timekeeping is kept by our people in the admin tent with that siren. And at full time, it is Manly with a nice little victory. They're going to get one more play here.
Yeah. Lucky you pointed that out, James. Some of the people might be like me. I'm a little bit slow on the uptake. Took me a while to join the dots and see the Preston try. So Preston calling Preston.
Very exciting. No relation, but there's something I can tick off the bucket list. And Manly are ticking off a win to begin their day here and to begin their tournament for the Junior State Cup Northern Conference in the under-14 girls division. It is Manly 3-0 over Wallsend. All the action for our next match coming up very shortly. Stick with us here on New South Wales Touch Football and Bar TV. We move to the 16 girls division next.